Hi Farhan, I call you the all-rounder of Bollywood.
Thank you very much.
You act very well, you sing very well, you produce good movies, and you direct good movies.
Thank you so much. Very kind of you.
Thank you for giving us time. I'm Rajesh from Indus Age, one of the leading magazines in Australia. We have 5 different editions coming out from Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Apart from being an acclaimed director, producer, and actor, you also have time. You give a lot of importance to your musical career also. What was the reason to do all that? What made you do?
Well, I've truly been very intrigued, interested in the world of music, in the field of music from the time that I was a child. Way before my parents recognized that in me and got me a singing teacher when I was about 5 or 6. And for 3 years, I used to play harmonium and sing. But even before that, I just had an ability for singing. I would hear pieces of music, which, for example, I mean, when you're a child, are like background score of a film like Star Wars, for example, you know, or the Superman series. And I would, in my own childish kind of way, write down phonetically how to sing things. You know, so I was always very intrigued by music. I was very intrigued by this very dear friend of my parents who used to play guitar. At the age of about 16 or 17 was when I got my first guitar and I started playing. And then it's basically songs that you've enjoyed listening to are the songs you do play. And then it kind of took a back seat when I started writing, directing, producing films. I got busy with that. And then eventually it came back to me, I'd say maybe in about 2004 or 2005, towards the end of Laksh, when I was shooting, because my guitar was a very helpful companion to me when I was in Ladakh for 5 months, shooting for that film. So it would help me de-stress, it would help me relax, and that's when I started playing again. And then inadvertently, almost cosmically so, the film Rock On was offered to me, which was about music, which was about the kind of music that I enjoy. The kind of prerequisite in my head for playing that part was to sing in the film, because that would be a part of the performance and not just lip sync to somebody else's voice. And that rekindled again, even further, this love that I had for singing, for music. And then one thing led to another, and there was, sorry, I'm throwing a lot of things at you, but it's kind of a process that had happened. But with Mard, the initiative that I founded in 2012, which is Men Against Rape and Discrimination, in response to gender inequality, gender violence in our country. It was something that I felt very crucially needed to be spoken about. And my belief lies in the fact that education, getting children to think differently from a very young age, is going to help solve this problem, as opposed to working just predominantly with people who are already adults and have on some level set opinions about things. Some will change, but I think the majority won't. So to reach out to them, we felt that music was a great vehicle to be able to do it. So to go to their colleges, go to their schools, play music for them, where they feel connected with the artist, where they feel connected with the person who's come to talk to them, you know, and then speak to them about what Mard is about, how the importance of gender, the importance of equality. And that really is how the touring of Farhan Live began. And now here we are, about to come to Australia.
I'm looking at all your movies. You are giving a reason, a cause, like Bhag Milka Bhag. I cannot think of Bhag Milka Bhag without Farhan.
Oh.
The way you have acted. And all the movies, and prior to that, Karthik Calling Karthik.
That's right.
I enjoy that movie. I still have watched it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And those are type of movies you're doing, which is very much a reason to be a perfectionist. That's what I get. Amir is one, and I'm thinking that you are the second one who's doing that.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
And you're also taking out your time from your busy schedule to do Mard and other things for social cause, because you earn from society and you give it back to society.
Yes, I think that's important to do. Yes.
Rock On was something that influenced you, or it's made from your liking for music?
Well, like I said, it really was a film that came along at a time in my life where even my curiosity about the world of music, my interest in wanting to physically do something so that all this love that I have for it should manifest in some way that makes sense. It all happened, I would say, at the very right time. I had just finished working on Dawn, the first Dawn. I was in search of what it is I'd like to do next. So it was a transitional phase in between two films which I assumed would be as directors. But it was at that point that I met with Abhishek, and he told me this story of this band that breaks up and gets back together 10 years later. And it just felt like the right thing to do. It belonged to a world in terms of where the characters are from that I could identify with. It was about the music that I could identify with, and how music is such an important part in any relationship. Music and I guess the sense of smell are two things that can really take you back to childhood memories, that other things can't. You could forget having gone somewhere and you know maybe you're like, I did come here or I didn't. Visual can still play a trick, but music invokes certain memories and smell invokes certain memories. So for me it was just a great way to express what I feel about music, a great way to step into this world, also on some level in the kind of sheltered guidance of Shankar, Ehsaan, Loy, three people who I've worked with since I started my career in film, and even before actually. In advertising I worked with Ehsaan and Loy and Shankar's first music video, Breathless, which he had done his first album, his first video I directed for him. So it was again another step ahead in our association as well. So I felt very comfortable to do it, and I feel that film, the experience on that film, gave me the confidence to say that acting is something that is a possibility for me to do, because I've enjoyed the process. I felt a certain kind of artistic liberation playing another character, and that gave me strength to move on, and then that of course has helped me do these various roles that you talk about.
After your success as an actor and director, you shifted your focus to uncovered areas like music and others. Who is your inspiration, and who are your best supporters?
I can't really say that I have any one person who inspires me. I think it's different people have played different roles in my life over time. As far as maybe musical inspiration, to a certain degree, I would credit my love for the Beatles with it, because I grew up at a time when my mum and my dad were listening predominantly, and their friends were predominantly listening to the Beatles and to Elvis. And somehow their music stayed with me a lot more. And for me, that's the first thing that I felt like I wanted to play on guitar, was like a Beatles song. And that's why I picked it up to start playing. So I think probably it started from them. And then of course there have been many influences along the way. And just in life, I think my parents, my sister, my wife, my kids, are people who inspire me to do my best with whatever I do. For me, there is a certain longing, or I would say, a longing for them not to feel that they could recognize that there is something that I'm doing that I'm not happy doing, or that I'm not giving everything that I can possibly give to. So for me, their approval of what I do gives me a lot of strength, and of course then inadvertently their support for it.
You're doing films back to back. How do you get time to do things so that you can grow more in musical area?
The good thing about being in film on some level is that when the work is intense, it really consumes you and it consumes all your time. But when that project is done, you can find yourself completely jobless. that can happen. So in between projects, it happens very often that you'll get like maybe a month or 2 months where a script's in development, or maybe you're in a studio like this, but this is not something that's going to occupy you from 12 to 12. It's not that by 12 to 12 I mean the entire 24 hours. It's not going to do that. So you can always make time to do stuff that you want to make. And I'm a true believer, in that time on some level, or personal time is very flexible. That if you want to do something and truly want to do it, you will make time somehow or the other to be able to do it. And if there's something you don't want to do, if your heart is not in it, no matter how free you're sitting, you'll never find the time to be able to do it. So it's really, that's what it's like.
Farhan, can you throw some light on your band, Farhan Live,
Sure.
your team members and your
Sure.
foundation?
Of course. Farhan Live, truly the idea of Farhan Live came from Anurag Rao, who manages the band and now also plays guitar on stage with us. So when I spoke with him about Mad, he handles events, he handles talent. So I spoke with him, he's a very dear friend of mine. I spoke with him, I said this Mad thing is something that I want to take into colleges. But I am not comfortable going and lecturing students, because I've also been at the receiving end of many lectures when I was in school and college. And within 15-20 minutes, as a child, your mind starts getting diverted and you really want out after a little bit of time. So I said, I don't know if the importance of what it is I want to do with them will register if I just go there and speak with them. So can we think of something that can be done? So he said, let's put together a band. Let's go. You enjoy singing, you enjoy playing music. So let's go sing songs with them. And in the midst of that, we'll stop the performance where you can take a good 5-10 minutes and talk to them about this. And it'll be a memorable evening for them. So they will always remember it. So whenever they think back to that time, they will always remember this message. Like we do in a concert. In any concert that you go, more often than not, artists who are truly, who are writers and performers, they have, I guess, because of their love for music and their love for stories and their love for people, they more often than not have something to say apart from just singing their songs. And you always remember that. So if I think of like a Michael Jackson concert or if I think of a Roger Waters concert, I always remember the message that they brought to me outside the music as well. And that stays with me, I think, because I didn't just hear him speak, but I heard him perform. And so we created a vehicle for Mard with the music and then went and started performing. So it's Anurag Rao, there is Sarosh who plays guitar, there is Shannon who sings with us. These are, for me, the must-haves on every concert that I do. And then apart from that, we've had different keyboard players, different drummers, but predominantly Darshan, Umang, Anupam doing percussion, Dibya doing bass. This has predominantly been them, but there's of course other musicians who've come in once in a while when they couldn't.
So the Indian crowd who's waiting for you on 7th February in Melbourne and
That's right.
8th in Sydney will get complete entertainment for 2 hours plus?
Well, they definitely will get a lot of entertainment. Our set, usually the ones that we've been doing, is a 90 to 100 minute set is what we do. So it's about an hour, 40 minutes. But it's a flexible thing. We definitely have a set that we can do for 100 minutes. That's no issue whatsoever. And then once in a while we do throw in covers, and Australia is a great place where we can, because their language is not a barrier. In terms of if you want to go somewhere and maybe sing a song that's in English, at times you can't, but in Australia we can. So we'll see how that goes, but a 90 to 100 minute set definitely is going to be happening.
So what do you see the future of Farhan Life after 5?
Well, the focus really right now is on creating a lot of content that's outside the film space as well, because this is an ongoing thing. This is a job that we do, and we will always require songs for our movies. So some will be associated with me personally, some won't. But outside this, I think there's a lot that I would like to say or share about myself, about what I think about things with the world. And that can only happen in an independent capacity. That can't always happen in film. So the focus for the band really will be to create more and more original content. Maybe not just with me singing, but collaborations like we've done with Salim Suleiman. Just now we did a song called Chule Asman, which was for the Mard Initiative again, to help get women online. The disparity in India of women vis-a-vis men online is 70% men and 30% women. So for them to be able to educate themselves, use their skills, community building, seeking advice, empowering themselves in ways, it's a great tool. So that's something we've tied up with Google and that we are doing. And the theme song for that, the driving song, the anthem, was created by Salim Suleiman and myself. That's a song we will be performing when we come to Sydney and to Melbourne as well.
Any message you want to give to your viewers back home in Sydney and Melbourne?
Well, I'm just really excited to come back. I mean, that's all I truly have to say. I have spent a lot of time in Sydney while I was filming there, and of course wrecking before, and an equal amount of time, if not more, actually in Melbourne. I have family there, like I just mentioned to you. So for me, it's always nice to come there, to meet with them, of course, and just to revisit all those places that I've spent. Maybe it's been like 10 years since I've been to Melbourne. It's been 14 years since I've been to Sydney. So I think things must have changed a lot. But I'm really excited to come back in a different capacity from what I did the first few times. And just to engage with the audience, to engage with the fans, and most importantly to have like a memorable, fun evening with music. I just request everyone to carry their voices along with them as well, because you will be asked to sing.